When did you join the bar? 2 days ago. This is my first patrol. It's closed. Christ! He's dead!
Spotted! On back to the shadows! The power of the Lord commands you!
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news. Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Fuck you all! Fuck it all! Stop it now, Albert, stop it!
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
All right. Perhaps the poor drunk just confused you with someone else.
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's...
Hey, I didn't do anything.
All right.
Sod off, mister.
It's true.
I said sod...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
I found the recruiter you were expecting. He's dead, but he carried a note. The Wet Boot Boys have accepted your application.
I knew it! I told you I was tough enough. I'll be free soon.
This note was found on a dead man, Albert. If that doesn't change your mind, then you must be ready to face the risks.
You're all fancy words, none of which concern me. Go worry about someone else. I'm fine and I've a future here.
Goodbye, young man.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and it's where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Trap.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
I'll not die in some piss stinking alley reeking worse than a week old lavvy.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just frayed me last nerve.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar, a coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
It's a pity that doctors still practice such barbaric methods. It's a dishonor to our profession.
Now only the pills stop me thinking about this shit. To not hear the explosions. I'm even scared of the dark these days.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Die in some piss stinking alley reeking worse than a week old lavvy. I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
What do you think of the look?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't
Welcome,
be afraid.
sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Right then. Show me what you have. Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense of others. Perhaps that's just the law of nature.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
According to you, physicians...
Not for me.
This part of...
Totally.
Goodbye, Mr. P.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious, never goes out, doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well. Goodbye then.
And trickery.
Touched by grace.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly peaceful silence.
Peaceful? That's quite an unusual way to speak about the epidemic. And very inappropriate, I must say.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much. And that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Did you know the Mute Florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious Camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
What can you tell me about him?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'll leave you alone, sir. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London. And you could be exposed. Or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly, but it is not your concern, Doctor.
Could this be the scarf you lost, Miss Popper?
It is much more than a scarf to me. It is the only thing that connects me to my family and my country. Thank you so much.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Tell me.
Are you joking with me?
I have no interest in your...
Short story.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly, but it is not your concern, Doctor.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
You look so pale.
Good evening, Christina.
Change.
Do you need any assistance? I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can. Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again. Go away.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right. Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.
It's locked, all right.